So this video might not be for extreme beginning traders, but if you know some of the basics, some of the techniques to identify zones, make your own analysis on the side and then compare what you want. And let's get to that right now. What's up guys, welcome back. Today's the beginning of the week and we're gonna do the weekly review once again. This is a video where I go through everything on my chart. If you wonder what I trade, what I'll be looking at for the next week, that's exactly what you want to be tuning in. And we'll go through a series of pairs today. I'll have 2 trades set up and the rest going to be for the upcoming week, as we always do on Monday morning. First pair I'll look at is AUD CAD. We talked about this pair again last week and I flagged it earlier the past week because of the fact that it's reaching 0.94, its support area. So it looks like it went down, didn't produce any setup, just bounced a little bit. And this is quite a big wick, so we might wait for price to go down a little bit further in this manner and then wait to buy when it's closer to the support area. But this is pretty much what I'm looking at, and that's why it's flagged. I want to keep looking at it daily and see what happens with this pair. AUD is a pair that I've been looking at pretty close to this past week. So I said if we're going to go below this low from the past week, chances are that price is going to go back down. And what happened the past week is pretty interesting. So I'll take a 1 hour chart here as an example. So price went down. This is the support area we're looking at. It's fine if price goes down a little bit. This is a 60-minute chart, so it's not exact to the point on the zone we identified, so it's a little bit of difference. But basically price went down and pushed above here, went back down again. And what we see is that even though we made a new low, okay, over here, because this is lower than this one over here, price made this nice setup with the Bollinger Band. So break outside the Bollinger Band with this candlestick right here, strong engulfing candle right after. And basically this is where I put a trade. That's my trading style. So entry above the high, stop loss below the low, and you are to risk of 3 to 1. Now I believe 3 to 1, we'll just put this thing over here. Has not been reached yet, but we reached 1 to 1 where I took some partial profit. So 1 to 1 was around, I believe, here. And that's where I took some partial profit to lock in profit, ensure that if price is going to pull back and hit the stop loss, I'll be at least break even. Now I don't move my stop loss ever. I just take partial profit, and that's an example of trade with that. Now the only thing I do at this point is I pretty much just wait. I won't touch anything, I won't kind of exit the trade early or anything. I'll just wait for this to unfold, and it's either going to be a break-even trade now or a winning trade, and it doesn't matter to me. So I don't look at the chart daily to see if price is near, and if I should close the trade early. It doesn't happen. It's always the same thing, same processes, and that's way more stress-free than looking at the trade daily. But that's it for AUD for now. AUD is also near to a resistance area, so 1.12. So good zone to look for bearish setups. It's a little bit far, and you can see the past week was a bearish week, but we want to wait for price to hit there and look for bearish trades at this zone. Okay, pretty interesting zone because we've been reversing a few times in the past, of course. AUD we said last week was breaking down of 0.75, a strong support area. And it didn't reverse there, so we wait for price to hit 0.70. That's the next zone. And nothing to do in the meantime. You just have to wait. CAD CHF between 2 zones. I'm not going to trade that for sure. Euro AUD is really messy right now, so at this zone, but not doing much. This is really quiet, and I tend to avoid trading those type of moves because it's not that good. Euro CAD is back to support at 1.50, a round number. That's going to be pretty cool. And looks like price so far made some sort of hammer, but we had no setup on any time frame, I believe. So you can wait. When price does something like this, you can wait for a re-entry, or sometimes it's going to go up a little bit and then come back for a pullback, and that's where you can enter. So both ways work, and there's not one better way than the other. You just have to go with whatever happens. Euro GBP is hitting a resistance area at like 0.90, 0.91. Quite a big zone, but that's alright. And we want to see bearish evidence there. We have nothing so far, so we're gonna wait for this, and I'll keep the pair flag. Euro USD is finally showing some bullish signs on this zone we talked about a couple of times. So this is 1.17 to 1.14. First bullish candlestick since a while, a couple of weeks, but we had no setup, so we need to wait for price to do something and maybe pull back to a lower band, look for a bullish setup, and that should work out pretty well. GP CAD is between two zones, I'm not going to trade that. JPCHF is also between two zones. So we thought it could reverse over here, but now it's between. The one thing I said last week is that in this case, you could wait for a retracement all the way to the level here, 1.30, and then sell over there. That could be a good place to look for bearish setups. With your setup, of course, with the confluence you have. But for now, it looks like it didn't retrace yet, so we'll wait for that and see what happens first. Either a move to here, 1.22 to 1.20, or to 1.30, basically. GPGPY between two zones, I'm going to trade that. GPNZD also messy. GPUSD, it was last week at the support area, now it's broken down. So I'm going to look for a move all the way to here, 1.20. It's quite a big move, like this is 1.31, so it's 1,100 pip of difference. But we'll have to be patient and wait for price to hit that level here. This is the best place to look for trades. In the middle, it's like, it's messy, it's not that clear. Okay, so you might want to wait and get the best trades. NZD CAD is right hitting a support area, and we've talked about this also last week. But I want to show you guys the trade setup on this. As you can see, price was hitting pretty strongly to the downside. Now, when we hit this level over here, I want to show you how price reacts. So we hit the level, 0.87. It's an area, of course, not a fixed price level. But look at how price made this nice setup over here. Break of the Bollinger Band with these two candlesticks, these three candlesticks over here. Strong engulfing candle following that right here. And basically how I trade is I enter above the high. Like I showed you guys before, pretty much the same principle all the time. And I always have pretty much the same setup, it's just different context. But I put my stop loss below the low and reward to risk of 3 to 1. Okay, that would have been a good trade. Now I take profit at 1 to 1 reward to risk. This line here is not perfectly well, it's more like over here. And 1 to 1 will be over here approximately, okay? Break even now. This was at 5 a.m. I don't tend to trade at 5 a.m. I'm just not awake at that time usually, or not willing to trade at that time. But if you're gonna be in Europe and trade that, perfectly fine, good setup, and perfectly well to enter that trade in my opinion, based on what I trade. Of course, you might trade something different, and don't take this once again as what you have to trade. I just show you what I do myself, and you should know what you do, not just copy what I do. That's always the way to go. Okay, if you just rely on these reviews for trade setup and trade ideas, well, reevaluate what you do. But if you rely on this for maybe adding confluence or maybe just seeing how I do things, then great, that's perfect, that's awesome. And again, if you want to see more videos on my trades, my strategy, what I trade, I'll link a playlist below. You can watch all the playlists. It's full of videos on what I trade, my strategies, all the things I've traded since like the past 2 years. Should be pretty useful. So now for this pair, we can look for more trades set up in case you missed just one over here like I did. You can wait for price to make another setup. So either it's going to pull back down to the lower band and make the same setup, or it can move a little bit higher, then come back down, make a setup, a pullback, and you enter the pullback with the Bollinger Band. That could work well, that's an option, but you just have to wait a little bit and keep your eyes on that pair. USD CAD is not doing much, although I'm seeing that price might reverse back to 1.29, a support area. 2 weeks ago was really bullish, the past week was bearish. Might come back here, might have some trades set up that are bullish. If not, we wait for price to hit the 1.25 resistance area where we can look for trades. But now it's like in between, so keep an eye, but don't try to trade it for no reason. And USDGPY is kind of between two levels, so not doing much over here. The past week was a doji week, not much happening. And we can look for basically bullish setup at this zone. Bearish setup would be tougher now, but bullish setup all the way to 114. But we didn't have many setup on this pair. I don't think it's really conducive to setup right now. The way it's moving, it's like it's kind of too tight, so we just have to wait. And finally, USD SJD is coming back to a resistance area, okay, 1.39, place where we've been reversing a few times in the past, and it's going to be good to look for bearish setups. So guys, we've been through all the pairs. I hope you appreciate this video. I hope you got some value. Comment below with your thoughts. Once again, give a like if you enjoyed this video today, and subscribe if it's not done yet, because there's one more video like this every single day. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys back here tomorrow. Ciao.